Hey everybody, this is Jim here. Welcome to the zone. I see we got some of the usual suspects in this evening. I appreciate you guys stopping in. Thanks a bunch. If you are new to the zone, it is what it is. Just a southern Mississippi redneck living in Colorado, talking about prepping and survival, giving his opinion on some things. If you into that, then do all the YouTube thingies. Go up, hit that subscribe button up there, hit on that little bell so you can get notifications. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. I love haters too. Leave a comment down below. Do all that stuff. But anyway, welcome to the channel. Um, Good to see you guys too. Hey Michael, hey Katrinka, how are you? Um, I want to start this off on kind of a solemn note, guys. Um, just sending out my thoughts and my prayers to the victims of the families of the victims in Nashville today. We had another tragic school shooting today, and you know, this is not going to stop, folks. Not until people learn to stop trying to put all the blame on guns and assault weapons and things like that and put the blame where the blame belongs, and that's on the mental illness that is running rampant in this country today. Um, that's a whole nother show. Um, I could talk for hours on that, especially considering that Colorado right now is in the middle of the Congress here trying to pass an assault weapons ban here in the state of Colorado. So yeah, I could talk all evening on that. But right now, I just want to send out my thoughts and my prayers to the families of the victims in Nashville. God bless you guys. May his spirit take care of you. And that's all I can really say. I mean, there's times like this when there are no words for what happens, you know. Um, unless you're Joe Biden and you've got another reason to come on TV and start trying to push an assault weapons ban. But I'll shut up about that. Hope you guys are doing okay this evening. And I know that most of you are used to this being on Sundays. It is looking like this may turn into shady Mondays before it's over, considering my days off and things like that and the way things are going right now. I may be moving it over to Monday night. I hope I'm not stepping on anybody else's toes. If I am, then I'll see what I can do about that too. But anyway, welcome in. Hope you're having a good day. Hope everything's been good with you and your family. We had a lot of news last week. You know, we had Trump was supposed to be going to jail. You know, Zelensky was probably begging for more money or airplanes or bombs or whatever. But also, something that happened last week was the TikTok CEO, Mr. Shou Chew. I'm going to probably call him Chewy just so you know for the rest of the video. Mr. Shou Chew testified in front of Congress. Now, in the testimony, Chewy stated that America's data is mostly stored on American soil. And he also said that the Chinese government does not have access to that information, to that data, nor have they asked for information to that data. He went on to say that after Project Texas, which is a project that TikTok is doing right now to kind of get all their stuff in one place, it's being spearheaded by a company called Oracle. Oracle's based in Texas. We also have an Oracle here in Colorado Springs. As you're leaving Springs on I-25 heading toward Denver, if you look off to the right, you can see the big, huge building. But Oracle is spearheading this project to condense all this information in one place. But he's saying that after Project Texas is complete, that all of Americans' data will be located, all of Americans' data will be located on American soil. Don't that make you feel safe? I mean, what the hell does that even mean? I mean, data is data, isn't it? I mean, and how do you store data? I mean, isn't everything in this world today, plus a few other things that are not in this world, isn't it all digital? What good does it do to have it all in one place? Look. I have a pot of coffee stored upstairs. Okay. If I run out of coffee, then I will go upstairs and I will pour me another cup of coffee out of the coffee I have stored upstairs. Just because my coffee is stored upstairs and I'm downstairs in my office does not mean I cannot access my coffee. Okay. If I want a cup, I go get a cup. Okay. So it's really not that big of a deal now, is it? Now, here's another little tidbit of info for you. About a year ago, there were 4 TikTok employees that were fired because they accessed Americans' personal information. Now, what was going on with that? I don't know. Did these 4 computer geeks see some hot chick on TikTok and decide they wanted to cyber stalk her, so they went in and got her information? Or I don't know. Did they look at Ms. Friels or Mr. McBean or Mr. Michael or Mr. Shady's personal information and get our banking information or our credit card information? Um, you know what happened with that? How secure is that? And now that it's all going to be in one place, it seems to me like it's a lot easier to take it now, doesn't it? But hey, Congress, they grilled Chewy. They drug his feet across the coals. They held his hand to the fire. They grilled him over this. Um, yay, yay, good job. You want a hand? You want some applause? You guys out there, clap your hands. Give Congress some applause for a second. They grilled some geeky Chinese dude who runs TikTok. Yay. You know what, dude? Let me tell you something, Scooter. You want me to applaud you? You want me to pat you on your little head and tell you you're a good boy? You want to prove to me that the money that I'm spending for my taxes is paying your salary is doing some good? You want to do that? Answer some questions for me. Okay. First of all, we had a Chinese spy balloon. And I know this has been done to death, but it's going to get done again because I got a point to make. We had a Chinese spy balloon floated all the way across our country. It was verified that this spy balloon was collecting data from people's cell phones and from radio broadcasts. This balloon floated over some of our most sensitive military installations, and they waited. They waited until it got out of the continental United States, out over the water, before they shot it down. Now, right after they shot it down, 3 or 4 other balloons popped up. They didn't care about anybody's safety with these other 3 or 4 balloons. They didn't care about falling debris. They didn't give a crap about none of that. You want to know why? None of these other balloons were verified as spy balloons. That's why. They didn't care because they weren't spy balloons. It was never proven that they were spy balloons. The one that got away, the one that got out off the coast, they shot down, that was a spy balloon. But you notice they waited until it got out of the country, off the coast, had sent all the information it was going to gather, and was basically done with its mission. Then they shot it down. Prove to me that you're earning your money by telling me what happened to the data on that balloon. What happened to it? Where did it go? Okay. We haven't heard one single peep out of these people since February the 17th. Okay. They completely stopped everything, just shut up about it. They postponed looking for debris for 2-3 days because of bad weather. And nothing has been said about this since. Now, this could mean several things. Okay. First of all, this could be something, national security wise that they can't let out. Although in this day and age of instant information, it is really, really hard to keep something a secret in the government or otherwise. So, yeah, but it could be a national security thing. They could be keeping quiet about it because there was stuff in that balloon that they can't let out, zombie virus, something like that. It could be that when it happened, China says, "Oh no, that was not our balloon. That was not us." And then they demanded to get it back. They could have turned it over to China without saying anything to anybody. Just let them have it, take it. Nobody's going to say anything because we're going to distract everybody. Okay, take the balloon. Um, or it could almost be that maybe these people are so incompetent that they couldn't decipher the information that was on the balloon. Not to mention, they left parts of it out in the ocean, maybe the important parts they left out in the ocean for China to come scoop up. After all the attention is gone and everything's settled down, they come scoop it up, take it home. Okay? Sitting on the bottom of the ocean. So answer me that question. Where's the data from that balloon? And while you're answering questions for me, please tell me why the number of Chinese nationals crossing our southern border has exploded 700%. That's right, folks. 700%. In the last quarter of 2022, Customs and Border Enforcement apprehended 1,862 Chinese nationals trying to cross the border into our country. The same time period, the year before, they only caught 229. Okay. And these are just the numbers of the ones that are being caught. Okay. This is not the getaways, gotaways, whatever ways you want to talk about, the ones that came across the border and faded off into the scenery. They're part of the landscape now. But the amount has been steadily increasing of these guys coming across the border since February of 2021. Now, what's significant about February of 2021? That is 1 month after Joe Biden took the office of president and threw the gates of the southern border wide open. Okay. 1 month afterwards. Okay. And the numbers right now are set to eclipse those numbers from last year. Okay. If these guys do get caught, okay, they give them, and they can prove that they're seeking asylum. They give them a court date, and then they just release them out on their own reconnaissance to show back up at court, kind of like they do all the other ones that prove that they're seeking asylum. Okay. Most of these people coming across the border are single men. Their ages range between their 20s and their 50s. They're fighting age men. 1,862 fighting age men have come across the border. Okay. What a lot of people don't realize, because nobody talks about it, is China has been snuggling up to Latin America and the Caribbean for a very, very, very long time. Since the early 2000s, the People's Liberation Army has been strengthening its military to military ties between China and Latin America. They have had over 200 visits to the region of military generals and authorities in China going and visiting their counterparts in Latin America. They send their soldiers down there for specialized jungle warfare training. They have sold arms, tanks, aircraft, and numerous other military supplies to countries like Venezuela, Bolivia, and Argentina. They have a very, very strong presence very near the Suez Canal and the Strait of Magellan. Or is it the Panama Canal? Anyway, these are both critical to the supply chain of this country. And who remembers, not that long ago, there were stories going around, there were some films out on YouTube that there were Chinese soldiers in Canada doing winter training. There was a couple of films on YouTube of these guys, and all you see is just this long line of Chinese soldiers doing PT down the side of the highway. Now, I don't know for sure if that was debunked or not. I think I had heard somewhere that had been debunked. But what has not been debunked is the city of Toronto has three Chinese police stations in Toronto. New York City has one. And I don't know if there are any other major cities in the United States that have them, but they have popped up everywhere in Europe. The Chinese government says that the purpose of these police stations, excuse me, is to combat growing issues of fraud and telecommunications fraud by Chinese nationals living abroad. What the hell does that even mean? I mean, are the Chinese nationals the ones that are committing the fraud? Are they the ones being the victims of the fraud? What does that mean? And if it's true, this has got to be one of the most boring jobs in law enforcement ever. Okay? Ever. Um, Now, the Chinese government also says that these police stations provide certain services to Chinese national citizens that, to be honest with you, Chinese embassies do the same job. Okay. The same exact job. And let's also not forget, lastly, here recently, just how much farmland, property, businesses that China has bought here in our own country. Now, some of these huge lots of farmland are right next door, are in very close proximity to some of our most secure military bases. You know, I got some friends in California that will tell you that the old joke about China owning the West Coast, they will tell you straight up, it's not far from being the truth. They have bought up all this land in our country. Folks, I'm telling you right now, you can believe this, you don't have to believe it, but think about it. We're being invaded. They haven't come screaming across the ocean yet. They haven't launched an EMP. They haven't launched a nuclear missile. Not one shot has been fired. But you can take it to the bank that our country is being invaded right now as you're sitting here watching me run my mouth on this video. It's very slow, it's very methodical, and it's very purposeful. And the reason being, the reason it's that way is so we don't notice it. Because you look, something happens in China. The news says something about something happening in China. They report this happening, and everybody goes, "Oh no!" And then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then something happens in China, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then something happens to do with China. And we are so busy as a people watching this that we never pay attention to this. Okay? Because the media throws out stuff to us just to keep us bouncing around. But I'm telling you something, folks, if you use your common sense, just a little bit of your common sense, just a little bit of reasoning about this, and you look at 1,800 Chinese nationals coming across our southern border, most of them just released into the population. And you look at Chinese police stations in Toronto, New York, maybe other places in America. And let's think for just a minute. Sleeper cells, insurgents, bases of operation. Okay. It's not a hard jump to make, folks, and it's not too incredible to where it's not true. And I believe that they have launched an invasion on our country, and it's happening from the inside out. So anyway, I am glad you guys are here. What do you guys think about it? What's going on up in chat? Let me see. Did I get everybody? Hey, Teresa, Katrika, how you doing? Joni Friels, how are you? Kelly, how you doing? Did you say something about going live tomorrow? I'll throw up your website over in Prepper Nation or something in the morning. Michael G, how's it going? Guys, I hope I'm 5x5 and I haven't been saying all this and you guys haven't been hearing me. We want an update on how you are doing, Shady. Well, as you can tell, I have got this beanie on. I have got a very high collared shirt on because my left ear is still numb. I can't feel it. The doctor says I won't be able to feel it for a couple weeks. And I have a huge scar running down the side of my neck, and I've got a bandage down here. How I'm doing though, I'm fine. I work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm up. I'm moving. I feel better. I'm doing all right. And I appreciate you guys asking. I appreciate you being concerned. It means a lot to me. Um, it was it was a tough surgery. To be as simple as it was a tough surgery. There's fun fact about Shady. Shady does not like needles. Um, I have had guys come at me with 14-inch pieces of sharpened steel, and I fought them, and I've won because I'm still alive. I have fought them, and I have won. But come at me with a TB test, a little tiny needle, and I get nauseated. It's almost a phobia to me. Well, putting in the IV was not that much fun. And I thank God. And if you're watching this, thank you, Miss Shady, because Mrs. Shady was there with me the entire time. And it was kind of special to see a 60-year-old man act like an 8-year-old boy over a shot. Another nurse came in, gave me just this little teeny tiny shot of lidocaine. Pop, put the IV right in. I didn't feel a thing. And I guess 20 minutes later, everything was glorious. I was out on the table. The surgery lasted about two and a half, 3 hours. Hey, John, how are you doing? Hey, thanks for coming over, buddy. I appreciate it. Glad you got a notification. I don't know if anybody else did or not. Yeah, Michael G, I kind of want to agree with you that I've never experienced it, but I can imagine. But anyway, yeah, I guess I got home about 7:30, 8 o'clock that night. Had ice cream, had chicken noodle soup. Still kind of sore up in there, but I'm doing fine. And I appreciate all you guys' thoughts and prayers and all your kind words and stuff. It meant a lot to me, and it still does. It just makes me feel like you're my family out there. John's in. Okay. Once again, we have a small crew in here, but that's to be expected on a Monday night, I guess. Anyway, guys, needles suck, but I gladly took an epidural. Of course, I didn't have to see it either, Teresa. Yeah, an epidural goes in through your back, right? Doesn't it? Yeah, they offered that to my ex-wife when she got diagnosed with cancer, and they were going to do a biopsy on her, and she totally refused it. She wouldn't have anything to do with it. She did the biopsy on her lung without any kind of anesthesia or anything like that. I don't know how she did it, but she did. Yep, we are all family here, Beaverines. Yep, Michael G, you're 100% correct. Prepping artist, I was so scared of needles, I would not take an epidural. Kelly, I'm right there with you. It's like I said, it's almost a phobia with me. We would stand in line during annual training to get our tuberculosis test. And if any of you have ever had a tuberculosis test, it is this little teeny tiny needle. I mean, it is small. And the more I stood there in line, the more nervous I got, the more nauseated I got. I would start breaking out into a sweat, 9 hours. And every time I say something about I'm deathly afraid of needles, people say, "Oh, what about all your tattoos?" Folks, a tattoo gun and a hypodermic needle or an IV are not the same thing. I don't care what anybody says. The tattoo guns they got these days look like Dremels or something, and they're battery operated, and they don't even make that scary noise anymore. A syringe is a syringe. An IV needle is an IV needle. And when you walk in and you lay down in the bed and you look over on the stand and they've got the needle sitting there in a piece of plastic and it's that long, or at least it looks that long. Hello. Gotta love getting tattoos. I do, but I'm about done. I think I've got 9, maybe 10 tattoos, and I think I'm about done, Michael. I love getting them. They're addictive as hell. You know, the thing about it is I took my time in between my tattoos, and all my tattoos actually mean something. I didn't just go get a screaming eagle, tattooed on the top of my head because it looked cool. All my tattoos actually have some meaning behind them. Some of them I kind of regret these days, and if I go back, I may have them worked over. But you know, okay, Katrinka, no more talking about needles, y'all. Okay, Katrinka's starting to feel queasy about it, and to be honest with you, so am I. Um, Oh, by the way, Michael G, this is just for you, just because I told you I had it and that you would see it on one of the upcoming videos. Here's to you, buddy. And it's just coffee, though. Each has a meaning. I want one more. A Phoenix. Joni of Phoenix was the very first tattoo I got. Right there. Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Right there. First tattoo I got. And basically, the lady took a cockatiel and put flames under it and free-handed most of it. And of course, these days it just kind of looks like a big ink blob sitting there. But that was my first one. And to be honest with you, with my ear being numb right now, I should get some of them big old gauges and really look freaky for a 60-year-old guy. But I think I'll kind of lay off on the gauges. That's too much for somebody to grab if you get into a fight. Well, Kelly, if take your time. That's my best advice to you. If you're thinking about getting one, then do that. That's the best advice in the whole world. Think about it for a long time, because it's something that I don't care what they say about removing tattoos or whatever. It's something you're going to live with for the rest of your life. And I told my stepdaughter, my oldest daughter, she wanted a tattoo when she was like 17. And I told her, I said, there's 3 rules to this. I said, first rule is you go to a professional tattoo artist. You do not get one of your friends with a homemade tattoo gun that is practicing to become a tattoo artist to get your tattoo. That's rule 1. Rule 2, you get a tattoo that you think about, that means something to you, and that it has some class to it. Okay. That was rule 2. Rule 3 was you place your first tattoo in a place on your body where you can cover it up. Okay. There are some people still out there that if you walk into their place of business wanting a job and you are covered in tattoos, they're going to think twice about hiring you. And regardless of all this inclusion and all this other crap, there are still people out there that think that way. So yeah, those are the 3 rules to my daughter when she was thinking about getting her first tattoo. And you know what? She was supposed to get it on her 18th birthday. I think she waited about 2 years before she actually got her first tattoo. So Dad did some good with his talk to her. Joni Friels, I have a photo on the video, Broken Wings, on my channel. Was done in Ocala, Florida by Pablo from Ink Master. That's pretty cool. I don't watch Ink Master, but I recognize the name just from his fame. Gauges equal swinging earlobes. Yes, they do, Michael G. And they also equal handles that somebody can grab a hold of in a fight and cause you a lot of pain real fast. Katrinka, LOL, my big thing was getting my ears pierced. I had to wait to 18. Yep, and that was a rule for my daughter. I mean, yeah, they all got their ears pierced and stuff when they were younger, but they were just, normal, natural piercings. Some of my daughters now have gauges, but they are small gauges and they look really nice. They can wear it either to where it's open or whether it's closed and it's got a design on it. And some of them are really sharp. But yeah, I got my ear pierced when I was in my 20s, and it was a fun experience. My girlfriend at the time did it for me. She took 2 pieces of ice and held them on each side of my ear, and then took a diaper needle and rammed it through my ear and put a stud in it. Fun. lots of the things you do when you're young. Um, what are gauges? Excuse my ignorance. Katrinka gauges are, you'll see these guys and they'll have these big, huge holes in their earlobe. The gauges are the things that's keeping that hole open. It's designer jewelry nowadays. You know, a lot of the things that we thought back years ago that were just completely out there and off the wall and stuff are now just mainstream. You know, it used to be that if you had tattoos and rode a Harley that you were a bad biker dude. Nowadays it's lawyers and doctors and cops and everybody else that do it. Um, Everything done in good taste is expressing your thoughts and feelings. It's an art. Yes, that is true. That is true. Um, Michael G, my left ear was pierced 3 times in my 20s. I, at one time, I thought about getting the other one pierced and just having both ears pierced, and I never did it. I didn't wear an earring, haven't worn an earring in a long, long time, and don't really plan to wear one again. And that's just me. I don't see the need in it. Um, anyway, let's see. Okay. And I hope there's not a lot of lag going on. I am still working on the Wi-Fi around here. I am still not doing StreamYard because it eats up so much Wi-Fi. So speaking of which, I don't think Jacob's in here. It eats up a lot of the Wi-Fi when you do StreamYard. And I could probably go upstairs and do it, but Mrs. Shady works from home, and a lot of times she's working while I'm doing these live streams or while I'm doing videos. So those two in the same room or in adjoining rooms probably wouldn't work that well. All right, guys. Real quick, before you go to sleep tonight, don't forget what I led out the video with, and that was to kind of say a little prayer for the families of the victims in Nashville. It was a sad thing. I was listening to that and trying to put the information together for this live stream, and it was tough. It was tough to hear, and every time it happens, it's tough to hear. And like I said, until this country as a whole can come together and focus on the real problem of what's going on with these mass shootings and these school shootings, we're never going to solve the problem. I've said it before. I'll say it 1,000 times. I'll probably say it on my deathbed. You ban assault weapons and people are going to use a shotgun. You ban shotguns, people are going to use handguns. You ban handguns and people are going to walk into a Walmart with a machete. You ban machetes and they're going to pick up a baseball bat. Good Lord in heaven, the first murder in history was committed with a rock. It's not the tool that these people are using. It's what's going on up here. That's what the problem is. And until people can get brave enough and have the courage to admit that, this is not going to stop. Okay. This is the shape that our country is in today. This is what happens when you lock people down for 2 years and all they've got is Netflix, pizza, and video games. And this was going on way before the lockdowns ever started. It intensified things. And until we can get some people on this, some people that will admit that we have a serious mental health problem in this country, nothing's going to get fixed. And you can expect more of these. You can expect more sadness. You can expect to have to pray for more people. I live in Colorado, home of Columbine, the mother of them all, the one that started it off. And I still remember that day. I was actually going to pick up my oldest daughter from school that day, when it happened. And it's like I said, until we can get a grip on the real cause of the problem, things are not going to get better. Hey, Lisa CC. All right, guys. Teresa is going to bed. Good night, Teresa. Thanks for coming in. And with that, I am also going to close this one up. I'm a little bit tired, and I want to see if anything else is going on. I have heard some other things about this school shooting that I don't know. They're not verified, but I want to go check that out. So, guys, until the next time, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. John, thank you very much for jumping in and seeing us. We're really small. I don't do a tie time yet because I would have to say once I get up to 20 people, I'll do tie time or something. But um, thanks for stopping in. God bless y'all. Take care, and I'll see y'all next week sometime. Probably talk to you in chat over in Prepper Nation. If I can get my mouse to work, I'm going to call this good. Y'all take care. Have a good night.